Guys, I've really been wanting to do a review of one of my favorite movies of 2013, a movie that actually caused a lot of controversy because it divided a lot of superhero fans. So without further ado, let's review Man of Steel. Guys, I remember my very first theater experience. I was 6 years old and I saw Superman 2 back in, I believe it was 1979, 1980, somewhere around there. And that movie made me a Superman fanatic for quite a few years. I always loved Christopher Reeve's portrayal of Superman, and to this day I don't really think anybody can embody the look and the mannerisms of Superman and Clark Kent better than Christopher Reeves. Man of Steel stars Henry Cavill, Kevin Costner, Russell Crowe, and Amy Adams. Man of Steel pretty much follows the known story of Superman in that you have the planet of Krypton. It is in deep shit and its inhabitants are about to be extinct immediately. So Jor-El and his wife, they send Kal-El to Earth in hopes that he can be saved. And like I said earlier, I grew up a big Superman fan, and Christopher Reeve pretty much embodied what we knew as Superman for a good 30 years. And so one thing I thought Bryan Singer did wrong was to try to jump into that storyline. I think he should have made Superman Returns his own vision and not make it a sequel to Christopher Reeve's Superman. And after Quest for Peace, I was pretty much ready to just put a nail in that coffin. I didn't think that that storyline could be saved or be told any further from that standpoint. I think it needed a fresh start, which brings me to Man of Steel. For some reason, Man of Steel was so controversial because a lot of people had trouble letting go of that original Superman storyline, the Richard Donner Superman. And this is not your Superman saving kittens in trees. This is the Christopher Nolan's world version of Superman. And I loved it. I thought that Zack Snyder really nailed this story. I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder's work. I enjoyed 300 and I really loved Watchmen. And one thing I really loved about Man of Steel was that it was different. It felt like an alien movie at the beginning, not the alien xenomorph, but just an alien, from another planet. In the old Donner movies, Krypton really looked like kind of a movie set. It was just this frozen looking terrain that really didn't give you much visually to play with. Man of Steel, on the other hand, they're showing the animals that inhabit the planet. They go into the lore and how the humans are grown, which I thought was an interesting take. And Kal-El is like one of the only Kryptonians that is actually born from a woman. I also loved Michael Shannon as Zod. And just having a different villain than Lex Luthor was a good foot in the right direction. Michael Shannon played Zod very different than Terrence Stamp, and I think that was a really good decision because I loved Terrence Stamp's version of Zod, but I also really liked Michael Shannon's version of Zod. Yeah, he did scream a lot, but I really believe that that was what his character was. He was very militant, and he was very black and white. There was no gray area with him. He wanted to save his people of Krypton, and he wanted Krypton to be on Earth. And so he wanted to pretty much extinguish all the humans and Earth to be the home of Kryptonians. And I also like that this movie was dark. It had a really dark feel. It felt like it could be in like the Christopher Nolan Batman universe even. I like that Henry Cavill played Superman in a very vulnerable way. It really showed that even though he had all these powers, he was struggling on a daily basis pretty much from when he was a child. And even when he dons the suit, he's still a problemed Superman. He's dealing with decisions on the fly, especially when he's fighting Zod and Feora. And this was one of the big controversies about the movie, was at the end when there was just so much destruction and A lot of it seemed unnecessary to a lot of people, but I think that if you put a young Superman in a situation like that with somebody as dangerous as Zod, people are going to die. Plain and simple. I really don't understand what the controversy was on that one. I mean, you have Avengers that pretty much was the same at the end, but it's like people forgot about it because Avengers was a little bit more lighthearted at the end, so they could kind of ignore all the destruction that was going on, whereas Man of Steel wasn't lighthearted at all. It pretty much told it like it was, and I actually like that. I also enjoyed the editing in this movie. I'm glad that they didn't play it as a straight origin story. Instead, they kind of bounced around from the past to the present to the past to the present, and it kind of kept the story fresh along the way. It did seem a little disjointed at times. I thought they could have tightened it up a little better, but overall, it kept me invested in the story, and it made a 2.5-hour movie actually fly by, and it didn't feel like it was 2.5 hours. And finally, the last thing I gotta say is I thought Superman kicked ass in this movie. That end action scene, it might have went on too long, but you know what? That's the Superman action scene that we've been wanting for over 30 years. And I also love the rumored Christopher Reeves cameo when Superman is flying up into the world engine, and then for a brief, like, millisecond, his face changes to Christopher Reeves. I still don't know if that was intentional or not, but I hope it was. As far as things that I didn't like about this movie, I know a lot of people didn't really care for Kevin Costner's portrayal, but I actually thought he did a good job with what he was given. But I thought his character could have been fleshed out a little bit more. And I know the one scene where he is put in a situation where his life might be taken in order to teach Kal-El a lesson was a little bit extreme. Outside of that, though, I really didn't have any problems with Man of Steel, and it's definitely my favorite Superman movie. Now I'm kind of conflicted because I love Marvel and I love DC, and it's hard for me to pick which one I like the most. I really love the Dark Knight trilogy, and I really love Man of Steel, and I'm sure this time next year I'm going to love Batman vs. Superman. I do like that darker approach that DC is putting forward in these movies. But maybe it's a good thing that Marvel isn't going that dark, because then we would have two franchises that are all dark, you know, and then it would get stale after a while. Guys, I would definitely give Man of Steel purchase worthy. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It is a great superhero movie, and it's a great Superman movie. And also, I was lucky enough to pick up the Steelbook from Walmart when it first came out, and I actually purchased the 3D Blu-ray 2 and kept the 3D disc and just sold the rest of it, because I have a 3D Blu-ray player and I wanted to watch it in 3D. The 3D is not that great in this movie, but the end fight scene is really, really good. There is a lot of depth in those scenes. Guys, thanks for watching my channel. Let me know what you guys think of Man of Steel, and are you a Marvel person or are you a DC person? Or are you kind of on both sides of the fence? Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Humdrum out.